Patrick Mahomes has quickly shaped himself into a generational quarterback. He's been so good that other NFL legends haven't been shy when sharing their feelings about him. The first guy that's spoken out about Mahomes is none other than the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Not long ago, Brady was interviewed about his thoughts on Mahomes, to which he had wonderful things to say. Brady said, "He's a terrific player, obviously, being the league MVP a few years ago. 50 touchdowns is pretty hard to do. There aren't many guys who've done that." He also continued later on in the interview by talking about their offense, mentioning how Mahomes has them rolling with all the talent they've got there. He rounded it out by saying, "We know we're going to have to play really well to beat him. It's going to be a big challenge for us. Watching the last time he was out there playing, you give him a chance to win, and he takes advantage of it and leads the team down there. He does a tremendous job. I don't know about you, but I certainly would love to have a guy of Brady's status go on about how great a player I am." Tom isn't the only great to have talked about Patrick in the past, as Aaron Rodgers has brought him up as well. As many people know, Rodgers shows up at the Pat McAfee show to discuss all things regarding football. At the time, Mahomes was in a small slump for his standards. Rodgers got asked if people should be worried about Mahomes moving forward due to his slightly below normal play. Rodgers quickly said, "When it comes to Pat, I'm not worried about him, and I don't think anybody should really be worried about him. When you're a transcendent talent like that, it's only a matter of time." What he meant by the end there was that it's only a matter of time before a legendary player has their struggles. Russell Wilson also spoke openly about Mahomes. Wilson, just like Mahomes, also loves to roam around in the pocket and make plays where there seems to be nothing available for them. That's exactly the topic that Russ touched on when speaking about this generational talent. Russ said, "It's been fun watching Patrick Mahomes and what he's done. I think he does an unbelievable job of scrambling. You watch him scramble outside the pocket, he's pretty special at it. He's one of the best to do it, and to see what he can do outside the pocket, he's a lot bigger than me. But in terms of how he throws the ball on the run and everything else, it's the baseball in both of us. Wilson hasn't had the best past few seasons in the NFL, but that shouldn't be taking away the value of his opinion when it comes to another quarterback. After all, Russ did in fact win a Super Bowl. Drew Brees also won a Super Bowl, and he's the next guy to have offered his opinion on the Chiefs' signal caller. Brees and Mahomes shared a touching moment on the field where they both openly talked about the respect they had for one another. Patrick has mentioned in the past that he grew up idolizing Drew Brees and the way he approaches the game, even mentioning that they now share a financial advisor. Brees has mentioned here and there how much he respects Mahomes' play on the field and how polarizing of a quarterback he's proven to be in his young career. These guys aren't the only Super Bowl winners to talk about him, as Rob Gronkowski has as well. Before the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl matchup against the Chiefs, Rob was asked about the young quarterback being called the baby GOAT. Gronk opened his response by saying that Mahomes is a phenomenal player, and that he's the reason why their upcoming matchup is going to be that much greater than it would be. He even said that Mahomes is doing things that have never been seen before. Coming into the game, Gronk also mentioned that both Brady and Mahomes are unbelievable in what they've been able to accomplish in their respective careers. There's no shortage of respect around here either. The bottom line with these past interviews has been that every single one of these NFL legends truly believes that Mahomes is a generational talent. Everybody shares the tremendous respect they have for him on the field, even when they're competing against him, and it's pretty obvious to see why they share this sentiment. It's not like we can just take their opinions for granted either. I mean, they are guys that have been genuinely competing against them on the field, getting a first-hand look at what Mahomes can do without viewing it through the lens of a television screen. If they have great things to say after all they've seen, then we need to take their word for it. If you're analyzing Mahomes' game on the field, he has every intangible that you'd want out of a quarterback. The first thing that you notice when analyzing what Mahomes brings to the field is his ability to complete passes. A stat showed the probability of a quarterback completing a pass to a receiver on just a standard drop back. He was compared alongside several other prominent quarterbacks at the time, such as Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Philip Rivers, and Drew Brees. The stats showed that Mahomes was nearly 20% higher than the second closest quarterback. This was even more prevalent when it came to third down passing. In situations where the defense almost always knows that a pass is coming, Mahomes completes more passes than any other quarterback in the league. It's not something that gets done easily, especially with the other side knowing what's about to happen and game planning to stop it. Some of his ability to complete passes can be attributed to his arm strength. After all, a good quarterback has to have the ability to make throws needed in order to give the receiver a chance. Patrick puts almost every single throw exactly on the money, even when he's moving outside the pocket and scrambling. The guy could launch it straight down the field with ease if he really wanted to, and we've seen it countless times when he used to have Tyreek Hill on the roster. Much of his arm talent is from his father, who used to be a pitcher in the MLB and had played for 6 different teams in his career before hanging it up. Patrick has just been able to capitalize off that arm talent, and head coach Andy Reid's help has furthered his own confidence in the passes that he's making. We also can't forget about what Russell Wilson said earlier about his scrambling. That's probably one of the things that separates Mahomes from the rest of the league. Some signal callers panic in the pocket, or just throw the football away when the first few reads aren't available, or if their pocket collapses. Mahomes doesn't do that as often as the rest of them. When a play breaks down completely and every receiver seems to be open, Mahomes can take off with his legs and generate more time for his players down the field. Linebackers and defensive backs then have to worry about him possibly running for a first down, while simultaneously not losing their matchup. If they pay too much attention to one or the other, Mahomes burns them with a massive play. If you step up, he's going to have a guy wide open down the middle of the field to throw to. If you back off, no problem. He's going to sprint down the field until you force him to slide. This creativity outside the pocket to just make things up is what we haven't seen before from a guy at this position, at least not for a very long time. When you compare some of the things he does to other great players in his position, you'll see how great he is. Mahomes has that ability to always come back on his opponents, no matter what the deficit. He instills the same fear that Tom Brady does when you give him the ball with the game on the line. Mahomes can also maneuver around in the pocket and make plays similar to Russell Wilson, yet has the same creativity as a guy like Lamar Jackson when the play breaks down. We also spoke about how he always seems to find a guy down the field, which is eerily similar to the style of play that Drew Brees has shown. Brees always had a ridiculously high completion percentage, always knowing where his targets are down the field. Patrick is exactly the same way. He's got a little bit of all those legendary quarterbacks that we've watched play in the past, and right now, he's putting all those attributed on display for the world to watch. As for his ranking among the all-time greats at quarterback, it's hard to place him anywhere just yet. I mean, he's still so early on in his career and could easily climb the rankings. One thing is for sure though, the guy may end his career as the best or second best to ever do it. Obviously, passing 7 Super Bowls from Tom Brady is difficult, but Mahomes might be able to do it. He's been the starter for 5 seasons and has made the AFC Championship game in every single one of them. He has a Super Bowl under his belt and is competing in a 3rd one very soon. He's compiled a 50-13 quarterback record as a starter, with a 66.3 completion percentage, 24,000 passing yards, and 192 touchdowns already. We haven't even mentioned that he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and a league MVP winner. If you assume that Mahomes can keep this level of play up for another 10 years at least, then yes, there's a genuine shot that he'll be going down as a top 2 quarterback of all time. Some are even arguing that he's inside the top 5 in these categories already. So, tie all this together here. Other NFL legends and Super Bowl champions have consistently spoken out about how great of a talent Mahomes is on the field. Patrick is believed to be a generational player, and his peers certainly think so, without much argument back and forth. Personally, I believe that Mahomes deserves to be talked about as one of the greats moving forward, especially if he can get another Super Bowl under his belt before he turns 28 years old. It's almost hard to even put into words how great Mahomes is, because he's always out there leaving you speechless when you watch him. Those plays that he can make up on the fly, the confidence he has slinging the ball, the way he impacts winning in the Kansas City Chiefs organization, it's all unbelievable. All I'll say is that it's not going to be uncommon to hear comparisons between Mahomes and Tom Brady throughout the remainder of his career. They might be awfully close by the time he hangs up his cleats. I don't know if he'll win 7 Super Bowls. That just seems like something that'll never happen again. Though I do believe we'll watch him shatter the previous major quarterback records like passing touchdowns, passing yards, completion percentage, and other things like that. He's likely to end with a few more Super Bowls under his belt as well, maybe around 4 if he can keep playing the way he's been. All in all though, this is a guy that deserves to be talked about in the way that he's been.